you talked about being connected to earth, but now you also work with resins. So this is almost like, I don't want to say the antithesis. This is like, this is a chemical. This is a toxic chemical.
Yeah.
How did that come about? And why? What's the story behind that?
You ready to hear me yap? So I went to this residency called Alma, literally one of my favorite residencies ever. 3-month residency. They gave me an apartment down the street from my studio. They gave me an amazing studio with a fridge and a tea kettle. Love them. And it was like, it's in Pittsburgh. They're amazing. Love them. Shout out to Kilolo. So when I got there, the residency wasn't expecting me to they're like, do what you want, just experiment, we got you kind of thing. And I really wanted to work in glass because I wanted to make my pieces see-through. I wanted to focus on vulnerability because that's something that I was kind of learning. As an Aquarian, I was learning vulnerability, which is a little difficult because I can be very closed off sometimes. So I'm learning to be vulnerable. I'm learning to communicate my feelings, but I'm learning things through my art. That's how I've always been. I learn about things through my art. And, hi. And so I wanted to make glass sculptures with things inside of them. The thing about that is that I don't have a glass facility. I don't know anything about glass. And that's a whole nother facility I have to learn. However, they did take me to get glass workshops. So I did take glass workshops, super fun. Thank you to them. And I literally went to sleep, literally woke up and was like, I should use resin. I don't know what happened in my dream where I literally, the first thing I thought of when I opened my eyes was resin. I'm gonna use resin. So went to Kilolo, who's the director and the head curator. And I was like, yeah, I think I want to use resin. I'm gonna just get all the stuff. I'm very much a jumper without reading instructions. I don't read instructions. That's my downfall. Jumped in. I went to YouTube University and learned from there and messed up so many times. Like, I was trying to take a huge jump and not even know I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't even know how to make a rubber mold specifically. And Kilolo came into my studio and she was like, oh, how's it going? And I was like, I'm so frustrated. And I was like, I'm about to cry. And she was like, why don't you ask Marvin how to do it? Marvin Torre I was the second resident because it's a new residency. I was the second resident. Marvin Torre was the first resident. He works in resin. He still lives in Pittsburgh at the time, right? So she was like, why don't you just ask Marvin? And I was just like, cause he's busy. He got stuff to do. I have a hard time asking for help. This is also another vulnerability thing, right? And she was just like, Murjoni, you know what? I'm gonna call him right now. She called him and she was like, yeah, Murjoni wants to ask you something. And I was like, can you help me make resin? He was like, of course I can. I'll come tomorrow. He literally pulled up to the studio, taught me how to make resin. And he was like, okay, your problem is you're trying to start too big. We're going to start with a frog. He taught me how to cast a little frog. So I have these little frogs in my studio. Taught me how to cast a little frog, how to make a mold, how to cast it. He was like, this is how you learn without wasting all your materials. True that. You're right. Thank you. So to this day, I call Marvin, sorry. That's okay. To this day, I call Marvin the king of resin. He will not accept it, but king of resin, Marvin Torre. Anyways, so he taught me different techniques of how to make molds. He taught me about different resins. Finally made a face mold, which is what I post a lot of. My first face mold was a black one. Awesome. He got the first one actually. As a thank you. And then at the end of the residency, because my goal was to make a full resin sculpture. At the end of the residency, the last day, I was supposed to move out the next day, right? I made the mold and demolded it when I was supposed to move out that morning. And I was like, yo, this is my season finale, because I was there for 3 months trying to figure out resin through YouTube instead of asking people. And figured it out, got a full resin sculpture. It wasn't the best, but it was something, right? And I felt so much success from it. Then I went home and kept making the resin faces and put them on the stands and stuff like that. But I like to tell people that my resin faces feel more like trapping a moment in time is what it feels like. I feel like when I'm making a piece, people see the emotion behind it through my hand. And I think with resin, people are seeing a trapped moment. Like this stopped in time. This is like, feels like a sculptural photograph in a sense of how I felt or what's happening. But I also feel like with resin, I'm collaborating with the material instead of taking control. Another issue I'm kind of working through is being a control freak. I'm learning to let go of some things.
You're really an Aquarius.
Yeah. but I'm learning to let down my ego and know that I can become a better person if I work on these things, you know, if I'm able to open up and talk about them, you know. So I realized that I do have a little bit of a control issue. I'm still working on it. But with resin gonna do what it wants to do. It's gonna cure when it wants to cure, and it is what it is, especially when you're just learning about it. So when I started putting things in the resin, like I started putting like braiding hair and like branches and like whatever I could find, it would have reactions. I can't control the reaction. If I put some like organic material in it, it's gonna react how it reacts, right?
Yeah.
And I had to learn like, okay, I'm not taking control of the resin. Like me and the resin are working together. So I had these braided pieces. I put braids in a resin face, some of my favorite pieces, put braids in a resin face, and the heat from the resin, like the chemical reaction, would pull the pigment out, the pigment of the hair out of the hair. So like it could be like red on the outside and orange on the inside because the pigment got pulled out. And sometimes you can see like the pigment swirling and it stops in time. And I'm like, this is literally like a memory. Like it's a photograph of pigment getting pulled from braiding hair. That's crazy. But yeah, I enjoy resin a lot. It's something that I had to like actually be careful with. With clay, it's like, I be shortcutting. Every artist will shortcut a little bit, especially if you know what you're doing. You're gonna shortcut some things.
Yeah.
You can't do that with resin. You can't. You gotta wear the gloves. You gotta work outside. You gotta wear the mask. Like you cannot shortcut resin. So resin has taught me a lot of things as an artist, a lot of things, and I'm grateful for it.
Beautiful.
Sorry, another long story.